They fear your growth, because if you change too much, you might leave them behind. The Stoics believed in facing truth without flinching. They didn't run from discomfort. They used it. They taught that inner freedom starts with understanding what drives people and what holds them back. Epictetus said, "It is impossible for a person to begin to learn what he thinks he already knows." Many people think they already know what's best for you. So the second you suggest a bold move, their advice often isn't about your well-being. It's about their discomfort. It's about their own fear of change. Cloaked in language of concern, you say, "I'm thinking of quitting this job and launching my own thing," and suddenly their tone shifts. It's not that easy. Have you thought it through? What if it doesn't work on the surface? It sounds like wisdom, but underneath it's often resistance, because your change threatens their comfort. This is the second loyalty test, and it's not about catching anyone off guard. It's about speaking your truth and seeing who's emotionally mature enough to support it, not just tolerate it, not just in ways words can't always explain. Some people will cheer, not because they understand your path, but because they love the person walking it. Others, they'll try to anchor you to what feels familiar, what feels safe. But here's what the Stoics would tell you: familiarity is not always your friend. It's the rope keeping you tied to the version of yourself you're supposed to outgrow. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are," but becoming who you truly are means leaving behind the expectations others have placed on you, and not everyone is ready to lose their favorite version of you. Maybe you were the funny one, the steady one, the always available one. Maybe you were the underdog, the one who didn't quite rise. That version of you made them feel needed, secure, maybe even superior. And the minute you talk about outgrowing that role, consciously or not, they push back. They don't say, "Don't grow." They say, "Are you sure?" They don't say, "Stay small." They say, "It's risky." Curiosity or caution. There's nothing wrong with questions, but tone matters, energy matters. When someone's truly loyal, their first instinct is to support you even if they don't fully understand what you're chasing. They want to see you win, even if your victory changes the dynamic. They don't need you to stay small for them to feel big. That's rare, but it's real. Seneca wrote, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you," and that means being surrounded by people who aren't just okay with your evolution, they encourage it. People who don't flinch when you level up, people who don't ask you to shrink just so the friendship stays familiar. The Stoics didn't believe in pleasing everyone. They believed in alignment with reason, with virtue, with growth, and part of growth is shedding relationships that can't survive your expansion. The problem is a lot of people mask their insecurity as love. They don't know they're holding you back. They might even believe they're helping. But psychology tells us that when someone has built their identity around a certain dynamic, like being the more stable one, the smarter one, the more successful one, your growth threatens that identity. It's not always about jealousy. Sometimes it's about fear of losing relevance. But some people don't want you to change, because your acceptance of yourself calls out their avoidance of their own. And here's where you have to make a choice. Do you dim your vision to protect their comfort, or do you walk forward and let their discomfort reveal what the relationship was really made of? This doesn't mean you cut everyone who hesitates. It means you pay attention. Loyalty isn't just about who stays, it's about who grows with you, who supports you without needing to be at the center of your decision-making, who trusts your ability to evolve. And those who are truly loyal, they'll rise with you even if it costs them comfort. That's what real love looks like. That's what real friendship does. Silence becomes rare, and that's why it's powerful, because when you go quiet, not to disappear, but to observe, you begin to see things differently. You realize that some relationships only survive when you're present, available and giving. The moment you stop broadcasting your life, the real dynamics start to show. Going silent is not about cutting people off, it's about creating space. It's about stepping away long enough to notice who values your presence without needing constant reminders of it. The Stoics believed in stepping back from chaos to reconnect with reason. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul." Silence is that retreat. It's how you return to your center and evaluate what actually matters. Because let's be honest, sometimes we confuse attention for affection. Just because someone responds to your messages doesn't mean they care. Just because they laugh at your jokes doesn't mean they see you. The question is, who notices your absence, not just your activity when you go silent? Even for a day or two, the world doesn't stop, but the truth surfaces. Who reaches out? Who checks in? Not because you posted something worrying or dramatic, but simply because your presence shifted. These are the people who feel your absence without needing to be told something's wrong. They feel it because they're tuned in. There's no performance needed, no updates required. That kind of loyalty is rare. It's quiet, it's consistent, and you'll never see it if you're always filling the air with sound. Carl Jung once said, "Loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you." And sometimes silence is the only way to truly listen to yourself and to others. But here's the hard part. When you go quiet, you start seeing who was only clapping when you were dancing. Epictetus taught that we should learn to wish that everything should come to pass exactly as it does. In other words, don't resist what silence reveals. Welcome it even if it stings, because silence doesn't just expose others. It reveals how much noise we've been tolerating to avoid feeling alone. This is where the test begins. Not in anger, not in bitterness, but in calm curiosity. You stop posting, texting, reaching out. You step back for thought. Not to play a game, but to reset. You use the time to reconnect with your own thoughts, to listen to the quiet voice inside you that often gets drowned out. And in that stillness, the filters fall. You'll notice who calls, who texts, who checks in. You'll also notice who doesn't, and that knowledge, that's not disappointment. It's data. It tells you where to invest your energy moving forward. The silence also reveals something about yourself, about your habits. Maybe you've been over-communicating to feel seen. Maybe you've been oversharing to feel valid. But when you pull back, you realize how much of your energy has been outward given, scattered, unreciprocated. And the Stoics would gently remind you what is not in your control is not your responsibility. Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but he the man who craves more that is poor." Craving constant connection can become a kind of poverty of peace, of self-worth. Silence restores that balance. There's also a psychological shift that happens. When you detach, when you stop speaking, you start watching. Every action becomes a reflection of reality without your voice filling the space. Other voices rise or vanish, and you start to see that some relationships were only alive because you were constantly resuscitating them. Your check-ins, memes, your effort, take that away, and the connection flatlines. It hurts. At first, but slowly you begin to feel lighter, cleaner, because clarity always makes space for better things. In that quiet, you begin to appreciate those rare people who check on you simply because they care. There's no agenda, no performance, just, "Hey, you've been a bit quiet. Everything okay?" That message hits different. It doesn't feel like a reminder. It feels like presence. Loyalty in its most honest form isn't loud. It doesn't parade. It notices. It listens. It cares, even when there's nothing to gain. And when people don't show up during your silence, it doesn't always mean they're bad people. Some folks are just not built for real connection. They need noise to feel bonded. They need you to be visible to remember you exist. That's not cruelty, it's capacity. But the Stoics would say, know the difference. Don't place your peace in the hands of those who are unaware they're holding it. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Going silent helps you take back that power. It gives you time to remember that your value isn't in how often you're seen. It's in how deeply you're felt. This isn't just a test of others. It's a test of you. Can you handle your own silence? Can you resist the urge to explain your quiet, to check who's watching, to wonder if you're being forgotten? That's where real growth happens, in the space between needing to be noticed and choosing to be grounded. Carl Jung believed that your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. Silence is that awake. It strips away the distractions and reveals what and who truly matters. So try it, not for revenge, not to manipulate, but for self-discovery. Go silent for a weekend. Pull back from the group chat. Don't post the selfie. Don't comment, just to stay visible. Let the dust settle. Then take note who comes forward with intention, who fades into the background, and most importantly, how do you feel in the quiet? Stronger, clearer. Keep them close. They're rare. They don't need reminders. Remember, they don't need the show. They stay for the soul. And those who fail, let them go without bitterness, without grand exits, just with the quiet understanding that not everyone is meant to walk with you into your next season. The Stoics believe that inner peace comes from alignment between what you know and how you live. Let your silence guide you to that alignment. There's a certain weight that comes with always being seen as the strong one. You become the steady hand, the go-to, the one who always has it together. People admire your resilience, your focus, your ability to keep going, no matter what. But here's the thing, strength without space to rest becomes a performance, and the moment you stop performing, the crowd thins out. That's the reality few people want to admit. When you finally say, I'm tired, or I don't know what I'm doing right now, the room suddenly gets quieter. The support you once had starts to feel conditional. This isn't because you've done something wrong, it's because you've crossed into a space that makes people uncomfortable. Vulnerability. The Stoics never told us to hide weakness, they told us to understand it. They taught that we should accept life's difficulties, not pretend they don't exist. Seneca wrote, difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. That includes emotional difficulty. The fourth test of loyalty isn't about creating drama, it's about being honest. Let someone see you in a moment of doubt. Let them witness your uncertainty. Say, I don't have it all figured out right now, and then step back. Not with fear, but with curiosity. Watch how they respond. Do they move closer, offer support, show understanding, or do they subtly distance themselves, change the subject, or go quiet altogether? The reaction tells you everything, because the truth is not everyone is equipped to handle your humanity. Some people are only drawn to your strength because it benefits them. Your confidence reassures them. Your energy lifts them. Your clarity gives them direction. But when that image shifts, when you're no longer the invincible version they've grown attached to, it disrupts the balance. They're not rejecting you. They're rejecting the discomfort your vulnerability creates in them. Nothing brings people closer to their own soul than witnessing someone else being real. When you open up and say, I'm struggling, it holds up a mirror, and some people aren't ready for what they see in it. That's not a failure on your part. It's a sign of where they are in their own journey. Let's be honest, we all wear masks. The I've got this mask, the I'm fine mask, the I don't need help mask, and often we wear them to keep the peace, to avoid making others uncomfortable. But the Stoic path is not about comfort, it's about truth. Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it. That matters. If you can share your reality without shame, you're walking that path, and how others respond. That's their test, not yours. Now this doesn't mean dumping your "that's enough." What matters is what follows the real ones. They lean in, they listen, they don't try to fix you or shrink away or make it about themselves. They just hold space. That's loyalty, not just clapping when you're winning, but sitting quietly beside you when you're not sure where you're going. It's important to understand that some people love the idea of being close to strength, but they confuse closeness with support. They love standing beside you when your light is bright, but they can't handle it when the room goes dim, and when that happens, when they start to retreat. You have to let them, not with bitterness, but with wisdom. Marcus Aurelius wrote, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy, so don't respond with resentment, respond with clarity. You've just been given insight. Can you sit in uncertainty without spiraling into shame? There's also a quiet kind of power that comes from vulnerability. It doesn't shout, it doesn't perform, it says, "This is me right now," unfiltered, unpolished, still worthy. And when someone can meet you, they're not because they pity you, but because they respect you. That's when you know the bond is real. That's when you know it's deeper than shared memories, or laughs, or convenience. It's rooted in understanding, and understanding is the foundation of true connection. So try it. This week, share something honest with someone. Nothing dramatic, just real. Maybe it's, "I've been doubting myself a lot lately." Maybe it's, "I'm tired of pretending I'm okay." All the time. Don't follow it up with humor to soften the blow. Don't rush to change the subject, just let it land. Then watch, not with fear but with observation. Some people might not know what to say. That's okay. It's not about perfect responses, it's about presence. The ones who stay in the moment with you, even awkwardly, those are the ones who pass the test. And if someone pulls away, that's not a loss, that's a reveal. You didn't lose a supporter, you uncovered a spectator. There's a difference. One roots for your whole being. The wins, the losses, the in-between, the other. They were only ever there for the highlight reel. And the Stoics would remind you, it's better to have one real friend than 1,000 hollow echoes. This test might feel scary, especially if you've built your identity around being strong. But remember, vulnerability is not the opposite of strength. It's the gateway to it. True confidence comes not from always having the answers, from being honest when you don't. Seneca put it well, "No man was ever wise by chance. Wisdom is earned, and part of earning it is letting go of the need to always be seen as put together." Sometimes the clearest truths about people don't come from what they say, they come from what they choose not to do when no one's looking. When there's no pressure, no performance, no audience, that's when someone's true character quietly steps into the room. And one of the hardest things to accept is this: the people closest to you will be offered a moment where choosing themselves comes at your expense. Not in a dramatic movie like Betrayal, not with fanfare, but in a small, subtle decision, an opportunity where loyalty would cost them something and disloyalty would reward them. That's where the fifth test lives. And you won't need to manufacture it. Life will offer it. Your only job is to be still enough to notice. In this test, you don't confront anyone, you don't accuse, you don't hint, you simply wait. And when the moment comes, when someone is faced with the chance to gain something by withholding, stepping away, or quietly compromising your trust, you just observe. No reaction, no warning, just silence. Because true loyalty doesn't need to be told what to do. It acts on principle, not pressure. Epictetus said circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him to himself, and in this case, they reveal him to you too. Imagine this: you share something confidential, something personal, sensitive, and meaningful. Maybe it's a plan you're not ready to announce. Maybe it's a vulnerability or a decision still unfolding, and then life hands that person a moment where they could benefit by exposing it, by talking behind your back, or by moving ahead without your knowledge. You don't panic. You just wait. The test is happening, and they don't even know it. What they do next, not evil, maybe not even dishonest, just conditional, and that stings, because most of us hope the people we love will choose us even when there's nothing in it for them. Especially then, Seneca said, loyalty is the holiest good in the human heart, but loyalty only means something when it's inconvenient, when there's something to lose, when loyalty costs time, opportunity, or influence, and someone still chooses it. That's when you know it's real. Until then, everything else is just a performance. And the Stoics weren't interested in performances. They were interested in the real, what endures, what remains, when pressure is applied and reward is absent. So don't force this test. You don't need to create traps or manipulate situations. Just be honest. Just live. Life will present enough chances naturally. You'll share something vulnerable and someone will have the option to protect it or exploit it. You'll rely on someone's discretion, and they'll have the option to honor it or trade it for approval. You'll give someone a front row seat to your struggles, and they'll have the option to guard it or gossip about it. That's the test, and the beautiful thing is, you won't have to say a word, just watch this test. Also teaches you something about values, not the ones people say they have, the ones they live by. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what they don't say, what they don't take, what they don't expose, even when they could." That's the kind of loyalty that doesn't demand attention. It just exists. Strong, steady, unshakable. This test may cost you some connection. It might show you that someone you trusted is not as solid as you thought. And that's okay. You're not losing someone, you're removing distortion. You're cleaning the lens. You're replacing hope with knowledge. And knowledge, as the Stoics believed, is the beginning of wisdom. Once you know someone's capacity, you stop overextending, you stop hoping they'll grow into something they're not. You meet them where they are, or you step back in peace psychologically. This also protects you, because nothing drains your energy more than doubting the people close to you, when you constantly wonder, would they really have my back if it got tough? You're spending emotional energy on defense. But once you've seen how someone behaves when the choice is uncomfortable, you either deepen the bond or draw the boundary. Either way you win. Either way you're moving with truth, not hope. There's another layer to this though, one that's harder to face. This test doesn't just reveal others. It asks something of you. Are you loyal when it costs you something, when no one's watching? So yes, this test exposes others. But it also builds you. It sharpens your awareness. It teaches you to trust patterns, not promises. It helps you release people, not with bitterness, but with gratitude for showing you early. And most of all, it reminds you to become the kind of person you wish others would be. For you'll find that those who pass this test, even quietly, even once, carry a kind of weight that others don't. You begin to see the difference between presence and principle, between someone who's near you and someone who's for you. And that shift, once it happens, changes how you move. You become more selective, more aware, less available to everyone, but more present with the few who've proven themselves. That's not arrogance, that's alignment. Because when you find someone who chooses you over convenience, who protects what's yours, even when you're not there to defend it, who stays solid in silence. That's not someone to keep in your circle. That's someone to keep in your core. Rare, yes, but worth everything. Loyalty isn't proven in comfort. It's revealed in quiet, subtle moments. When no one's watching and nothing is guaranteed, the real ones won't flinch, won't fade, and won't fold. They'll stand with you in silence, in uncertainty, in truth, and once you find them, you never move the same again. If this resonated with you, watch the next video on your screen. It goes even deeper into the mindset that protects your peace and sharpens your path. Thank you for being a part of Stoic Journal. Your growth matters here.